So are you still not smoking?
I started smoking.
Come on,
again.
dude. How
know,
does this?
man.
I mean, I know your head's down right now, but mine is down every time I go to like the food bar. It's kind of like I'm going up for another plate.
Man, I know.
But it's a weird thing. These sort of habits, addictions, vices.
They're hard. I tell you what, the hardest place you'll ever break an addiction or a vice is on the road.
Oh, I bet, dude.
Especially with people smoking. I tell you what I have done, and even done some research on them.
Okay.
Is these like little electronic cigarettes.
Yeah,
yeah. Where they just kind of, it's really just nicotine. The whole little white part is basically the battery.
Right.
The little butt, what would be the butt part.
Right.
It's just a little suspension fluid in there, which is basically the same thing that's in an inhaler.
Right, that's what I understand.
With just nicotine in it. And I've read up on them and stuff, and they said, they hadn't done a lot of study on them and this and that, so they're not sure if they're totally safe. But they said, are they totally safe? Don't know. Are they better for you than a cigarette? Oh yes, they definitely are. And dude, they're a lot. And if I use that thing, I wind up smoking a lot less. So if anybody does want to quit or just even lay off, I really kind of recommend those.
So you
things.
did get one, and you've kind of.
Oh yeah, I use it. I use it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough. I mean, they just don't make a pizza with a battery in it. You know what I mean? So.
That's right. I wish they did, man, because I love to eat too, man. I grew up on pizza and hamburgers and French fries, and potatoes was my vegetable. And
yeah, that's my vegetable. That's no starch.
Just at some point, I was like, all right, I got to eat better, because
that's funny.
Me and Matt used to split when we first started touring, we split a pizza and a fifth of vodka every night, pretty much, and
nice.
that'll put it on you after a minute.
Yeah, after a minute, after about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So you've had the time of your life?
I am having the time of my life, man, and we've had the time of our life for the last decade, and even further back than that, and we're still looking ahead to do it for a long time. And but yeah, man, I do feel like I'm having the time of my life. Everything is going good, and everybody's doing good, and family's doing good, and you really can't ask for a lot more.
Well, and I love that sort of an answer, but I also think you went a little bit deeper into the lyrics, especially maybe on that title track where it's important to make this the time of your life, right?
It definitely is.
It's really what you're writing about, aren't you?
It is. I mean, that song is definitely a road song. It's very literally. It's another day in another place. Can somebody please remind me where the hell we are? And it's like, and another night, I feel it come to life. How could this go so far? That's really a day in the life of being on tour, and it's another day, and you're sometimes not really sure where you are, and another night when you walk up on that stage and you just kind of feel everything come to life, and every night you'll stand there and wonder at some point in the show, how did this go this far?
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
It is, man.
On the Run is a really cool song. I thought about. Are you trying to maybe almost like trying to figure yourself out in that song?
I think that song's about kind of racing for the next day, but in a way inspired by an old memory, in a pretty kind of literal memory of when we used to play these bars over in Biloxi. It seemed like after we'd play from 10 to 2, we'd be breaking down stuff and sitting around over there at the bar drinking a little bit here and there, and by the time it seemed like by the time we were on the way home at like 5:30, 6 in the morning, that the sun was always coming up over these two bridges you had to cross going back toward Pascagoula from Biloxi. And so in a way that was inspired by it, always was like you was racing for the sun to get home, but at the same time kind of took that idea and kind of applied it to, it's of life, of just how kind of life is always good and bad, but you just got to keep racing for the sun,
Mm-hmm. I love the line, "The world gets cold and I get mean."
Yeah, man, that's probably one of my favorite lines because it's just kind of a cool line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But also, I think sometimes that's the only way you can really deal with the world when it's on you.
Yeah.
Is you kind of got to.
That's right, man.
Go back at it with your fists flying almost.
That's right. When their nose gets hard, your nose got to get hard too.
Yeah. And the line after that is cool. I think the world wakes up, the light's so strong. Because I guess I always think that, and you can keep going, the daylight fades and it won't be long. I love the idea that light can kind of, help us remember where we ought to be. You know what I mean? Or maybe where we want to go. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, I think when I was kind of going forward during that phrase, it's kind of like we act better during the day. You know what I mean?
Kind of what?
We kind of act better during
right,
the day.
yeah, right.
Seems like we get a little wilder at night.
Yeah. Lights go down, dude.
That's right.
Hey, can you tell me about She Is Love?
She Is Love is one of my favorite songs on this record. It's one of my favorites on this record because it's talking about love as if she were a person.
Right, that's what I wondered.
And it's as if she's walking through a city that used to welcome her. Mm-hmm. But now she walks down the street and nobody wants to look at her and nobody wants to call her by name. They know she's there, but it's like they forgot about her and almost kind of pushed her away. And then, it goes on into the bridge and it says, when they're weak, she'll always be strong, and though they don't know it, they're never alone. It's like she's always there for them, And in the second verse, I love the second verse of that song. It says,
she'll always
remember the days when they welcomed her here. I guess it's the first verse. I'm confused. It says, but their scars have no name in their heart. Because because she walks in forgiveness. It's like, and that's what true love is. It's like it's forgiving and it's letting go of. You see people's scars, but you don't give their scars a name. You forgive them for what they've done, and you carry them along like love does. And it's that song is just really, to me, it's a wholehearted song because it's pure to me because it's just really talking about love as if she were just a lady walking through the streets.
Yeah, is that what you have to do as a songwriter? Is to try to personify it, even though love is sort of this nebulous sort of feeling and beautiful greatness and all, but you can't really write it down. I mean, you can't really draw a picture of love.
Yeah, that's right. You can only the only thing that you can do to describe love is exemplify it, to show it. Really,
Yeah. God, I love that dude. Well, and maybe that's why, She Is Love is so good, but also Round and Round, because, when the world is all confusing and you're searching for direction, love is a good thing for it to come in. But that's what you're doing in that song, aren't you? And Round and Round is kind of...
Yeah, Round and Round is just talking about, and the world just gets crazier and crazier every day, and but it keeps itself in check. But that song is kind of just talking about how it takes all kind, or that not just that it takes all kind, but there are all kinds.
Yeah.
There's for every line in that song, the next line is just the person that offsets it. There's one to make the rules, and one to play the fool, and one with jealous hands. Maybe talking about a husband beating his wife or something, and there's one to be the friend, like the shoulder that she leans on or runs to, or one of her friends. It's just like for every action there's a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, do you think about the crazy stuff you see on the news or your friends are telling you stories about? It's like, don't you ever wonder how people got to that place, whether they're beating their wife or something? It's like, how did you ever get to this place, dude?
I do. I don't know how somebody could actually get there, man. I say that all the time. I couldn't hit no woman. I just couldn't do it. I was raised in my house. You don't hit no. I grew up with 4 sisters. You don't even hit your sister.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Much less your wife.
Dude, I did hit my sister growing up, and I feel bad about it. I still apologize right now.
I had sisters that were all bigger than me. I was the youngest of 7 kids.
Well, I apologize now because I think, I was whatever, 13, 14, 15. And totally. So I can kind of write it off like that. But still, it's like, God, I was kind of an ass.
I know, man.
I feel bad about it now. And she's like, how can you unhit me? I can't unhit you.
Me and my sister used to fight. I had a sister that, mine and her were closest. She was 2 years older than me, but me and her would fight when we was kids and stuff. But now it makes me, just like you say, it makes you feel bad. Look back and know that you hit your sister.
Yeah, I don't even get me, but again, I have to write it off, and I was just a stupid kid who thought.
Oh yeah, totally.
I have to be the.
It wasn't the same thing as a man hitting a woman, though.
No. Hey, when you're wrong, I feeling trapped and wanting life your way, right? I mean,
yeah,
maybe that's
When you're young is really kind of the way I always describe it to the crowd is it's almost a mockery of how easy people say it is to be young. And because it's so hard to be young, and I can't imagine growing up in this world right now with technology and I was reading an article the other day, and it was talking about 10 things that your children will never know, and one of number 5 on the list was privacy. You know what I mean? Just down to that.
Right.
They have everything that they're done is looked at and It's like everything's so instant and shared and everything that, I mean, you know, it's like everybody's under a microscope as much as I am.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody's.
Yeah, we can all end up on
there.
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you know, you're doing everything when you're young for the first time, and you're going through life, and you're trying to find yourself, and everybody's trying to, just like the chorus says, you give what you give because they make you, and you're trapped in a place that won't take you, and they want you to be what they make you. And it's like you know, it's just really, it's really is like it's already over and done when you're young, you know, and when you're young like that, you hadn't even started to live yet, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that we give enough grace to people, especially when you're young, to steal that title, because you're going to make 1,000 mistakes, and that would be a small amount of mistakes.
That's right, man. That's right, and that's if you do. That's if you're doing everything right. You know, you're still going to make mistakes. Thomas Edison said, "I never failed," and when he was inventing the light bulb, he said, "I never failed. I just found 1,000 ways it didn't work."
Yeah, if we could all just sort of take that and live it and understand that.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yep.
That it's okay.
You know what? Let me see. I got to read you something real quick.
It's funny we reached to our trusty iPhones just to kind of find the inspirational things that we kind of carry with us.
That's right.
You know, that's a cool thing.
John Lennon said, "When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life."
Wow.
That's a pretty good quote.
That is good, isn't it? That is good. Oh, what's a song about happy on here that I should jump to? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Every Time You Go?
Every Time You Go to me is a happy song.
Yeah.
You know, it is, because, it's kind of talking about every time you go, but it's talking about taking a part of you.
Right.
You know, and always, it's kind of talking about, because people go, you know, people have to be a part, and especially these days, people travel and stuff. And
Yep.
More and more. And it's cool to go away with a good attitude, knowing you're coming back, you know, and that's not talking about leaving and never coming back and being gone forever, you know, kind of like Here Without You is, but but it's more of it is kind of more of a more upbeat song about you know, having to leave, but definitely taking a piece of that person with you.
Yeah, because back to love, right? Because that love continues the connection even when we're not in the same city, right?
Definitely.
And then, so I think heaven kind of dovetails into that, doesn't it? Where home is where the heart is.
That's right, man. Heaven. We just started playing it live. We just day before yesterday, our last show. Every person that I know that's listening to this record, that's over 20 years old, it's like, man, that song just like gets me. And it's because, you know, everybody's done it. That song is just about kind of getting out in the world and veering off track a little bit, man.
Yep.
And it's so easy to go wandering off through this world and just get a little bit off track. And man, before long, you just got lost. And
Must have got lost.
Yeah, that's right. And just realizing of that song we co-wrote with Zach Malloy, and he had the idea for, you know, it didn't have to die to go to heaven. I just had to go home. And we wrote those lyrics around that, and I was like, man, I tell you what, that is so true.
Yeah.
And it is, man. It's a song that everybody can identify with. It was the other day when we played it for the first time. It's one of those songs that when you play it at sound check, that the other bands, like crew guys and stuff, like the local hands and stuff, they stop and they come over there and they start listening. It's like it's encouraging to hear people stop, or to see people stop and listen to a song, because for one, you know, it lets you know that it's a viable song, but it's also it's one of those that can just stop you in your tracks and make you listen.
Yeah, touches people in the right spot. Race for the Sun is something that I think hits me, because when life gets so tough out there, I think sometimes I get excited about it. You know what I mean? Is that what you're kind of writing there?
You know what? At least it ain't boring.
Right.
When it's tough, it's you know, when it's tough, it's kind of, it's better to wear out than rust out.
Well, it certainly will keep your attention, right? Because
that's right.
Unless you just want to let it, you know, sort of run you over, and I don't want that to happen.
No, and life will eat you alive.
Yeah, right.
The older I get, the more I realize that, man, it's like everything that older people told me when I was really young first off, is true, most of it. You know, and secondly, man, time speeds up. Every day is shorter than yesterday. Every single day, and it's like, man, why does it keep going faster?
Yeah, I don't know what that phenomenon is, but it's out there. It's real.
Sure is.
It is real.
It is, man.
Then I want to go on to Back to Me, which is the next song, right? On the record, I think. Maybe this is what I love. I love it when we sort of embrace each other and depend on each other, maybe is more what you're talking about there, right? In the same way when we're searching for ourselves, to depend on each other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that song, somebody very close to me asked me to write that song for them about them and somebody that they'd had in their life for a long time. And I'd heard a lot of the story and just kind of knew a lot of the background of it. And it's about kind of finally moving on past something, just past a bad relationship, you know, and the hurt that a bad relationship can cause you.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, finding somebody new who can support you. You know, it's like my favorite part of that song is the bridge. It says, "All of my life I've waited,
and hoping,
wanting you to see me the way that I am.
Yeah.
But now I know that I'm not alone because someone understands.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to. You know, I think that happens a lot. People just settle with they getting used to being in a bad situation. They can't find their way out of it, and finally they just acknowledge that they're always going to be in a bad situation forever. It don't have to be like that, you know. And because there's somebody out there that's made for you and that understands you.
I think someone who understands is huge in this life.
Man, you got to have somebody
or some buddies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, because I guess that's when I really feel like I'm connecting. I mean, you can tell me to pray all I want. You can tell me that there's people out there, but the fact of the matter is sometimes I need somebody to step into my world and say, "It's okay, just tell me about it."
That's right. Well, you know what, man? That's where I think that I am truly, truly, truly blessed is because I know that God understands me when I pray, and I know that Jesus understands me. He's given me everything that I have. And I pray every night before I go on stage, and I'm not trying to go all religious or anything, but it was as plain as I'm sitting here talking to you. I always ask for forgiveness and stuff before I pray, before I pray for anything. And when I was praying the other night before I went on stage, it was just as plain as you said it to me. Jesus said in my head, said, "Son, I understand, and that's why I died for you." And man, chills went all over my body, and I was just like, okay, I'm ready to go play.
Yeah.
And I went out and had a good show, man. It was fun. But anybody, you do need somebody that understands you.
So did you find God at some point in your life, or has God just sort of always been there and you have a more awareness or a feeling of connection at different times?
You definitely have different feelings of connections at different times because I think we're all closer and farther away from God at different points in our life. But I've never not known Him because I grew up. I thankfully grew up in a Christian household, and we all went to church, and my brothers and sisters, they all went, and my sisters used to sing in church, and that's probably where I started singing from. I grew up in Assembly of God church, and they do some singing at Assembly of God.
Is that the one who raise your hands and everything
they got drums,
praising the Lord
sort of and stuff?
Okay, yeah.
You know? And and I think that's the reason a lot of entertainers are from the South because there's a lot of churches like that. In the
Interesting,
South,
yeah,
and
right.
people learn how to sing in a group,
right?
And so then they continue on singing. And you can ask a lot of Southern artists where they started singing. They'll tell you in church.
Do you ever feel like maybe a concert is almost like a church service? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you have the chance any night without preaching to get up there and reflect God. You don't have to get up there. That's why I was saying about earlier. The best way to show love is to exemplify it. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can show somebody whatever you want to while you're on that stage. You get up there like bands get up there and do just filthy stuff, nasty stuff, or you can get up there and put on a hell of a rock show, but still have people see God through you.
So do you feel like there's a responsibility that you
Most
carry
definitely.
with you, even when you're writing lyrics, whether you're performing, whether you're, I guess, walking down the street in your hometown, right?
I disagree with some of the lyrics in other people's songs so much because, you know, I mean, the way they talk about the different things and the way they talk about suicide and different things in some songs and stuff, it's like, you know, if you even nudged, if something you write even nudges a kid that's already thinking about it further that way, man, shame on you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Help him come back toward the line. You can say it just as easy. Yeah. You know, and they feel angst, and you felt angst when you wrote that song. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty angstful when I wrote "Away from the Sun" too. But it ain't talking about jumping off the cliff. Right. You know.
Yeah, it's an interesting line, but we all have to walk it. Meaning we, just people, because there are times when I can throw on a song and I can get rid of my anger. Yeah. You know, and that's a good thing, even though it may have maybe talked about pushing you over the ledge, but the fact of the matter is I'm not going over that ledge, but I'm not. I know I'm not going over, right? Other people are not as.
Some people just some people don't have that stability. Yeah. I've told people all my life, it's like, you ever find me and it looks like I might kill myself, look for somebody to kill me, because I ain't going out like that.
Hey, one more song on this record that I wanted to ask about was My Way, because I do think there's that feeling of oppression and maybe even right there, trying to get away from the negativity that we were just talking about, whatever the negativity is.
Yeah, that's a good angstful song, was My Way, but in a good way. Yeah. Because it's talking about listening to somebody for so long and just that, you know, you can listen to somebody talk about what you should do and what you should do and what you should do and what you should do until eventually nothing ever gets done. Eventually, sometimes the only way to get something done is to do it your way. Yeah. And, you know, that's what that song's talking about. It's like, you know, I spend my whole life hanging on your words that leave me here in doubt. And I'm so tired of being down and out. I'll do this my way now.
Man, yeah, I can turn that message up anytime. Hey, what's this Hawk doing, man?
He's, you know, it's pretty cool, man. This is this guy that designed this artwork.
We're talking about the CD cover, by the way.
He done all the old Megadeths, and he's done all the old like metal artwork and stuff. But the Hawk is actually, you can see down below, it's all like kind of dark and despair and stuff. But when you seen this kind of zoomed out, it's all kind of brighter up here and stuff. But the Hawk, if you notice, it's not clutching the baby like it's hurting it. It's just picking it up and carrying it up into the light. It's like, if you see, it just barely got its hook up under its sort of like pants loop. And it's like it's losing the shoe. I tell you what we made of this record is we made vinyls of this record, and that artwork looks cool on the vinyl. Oh, man. But it's not like the shiny, glossy outside cover. Yeah. It's more like looks kind of more like cardboard a little bit. Wow. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Sweet. I like it, man.
Man, thanks a ton for the time again. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
I love it.